Welcome to another edition of Mission to Bank Memories as we continue to celebrate 25 seasons of Condors hockey here in downtown Bakersfield. Pleased to be joined by the man on my right, Brett Lutes. And first off, Brett, what have you been up to post-Condors career? Because you have probably, out of anybody, I think maybe the most interesting job of anybody post-Condors career.
Well, yeah, I mean, it took a little bit after the Condors to get into what I'm doing now, but, went on to play, multiple more seasons, I guess, with other teams and, enjoyed my career for the 12 seasons or whatever it was. And then, fell into a pretty random job. It was actually Jason Reeser's wife. Her mom married a beekeeper, and, he threw it out there to me one day that, you ever thought about doing this? Or I never thought about doing much, so, other than hockey. So now I'm, commercial beekeeper.
Yeah, so, I mean, we talk about the travel in minor league hockey and the travel and the craziness of the minor league hockey. You travel as well, too, beekeeping as well, too. Talk to me about that and kind of the organization that it takes to be able to, produce what you guys produce at the end of the day.
I mean, it takes quite a bit, actually. The people I work for now are based out of Minot, North Dakota, so they transport their bees back and forth from there to here in Bakersfield to pollinate the almonds that are all over the San Joaquin Valley. So they have a home base here and then a home base in Minot. And, we run for honey production there, and then farmers, pay us here in Bakersfield to pollinate the almonds.
Did you ever think before you became, professional hockey player that you'd end up beekeeping after your playing days were done?
Not a chance, actually. It was never, after starting and seeing the amount of bees that are in the valley at one time, I can't remember once ever seeing a bee box, in the years that I've been here until I became a beekeeper. So, it's pretty crazy. I didn't even know it existed, I guess.
Yeah.
So
certainly gives you an appreciation.
The scale of it.
Certainly gives you appreciation for what goes on in that realm of the world. And let's start though. You go back to 04, 05, 05, 06, turning rookie. You're going to become a pro, and you're coming to Bakersfield, California. What do you remember about that time?
Sold on a lot of things about Bakersfield being great place in California, and it turns out it was. It was a nerve-wracking thing. I followed a guy from my hometown, Ryan Gillis. He kind of threw it out to me after my year stint at university, and then it was nerve-wracking. That was never for the first time, never really knew if I was going to make a team. So it was great. I found a home here, and was able to stick around.
So then you left and came back, after a year away. What kind of brought you back, back to Bakersfield and knowing that you wanted to continue your career out here?
I tried to. I actually followed Paul Willett out to Port Huron, for a year or so, for a year, I guess, and then tried to come back out to California. I had what now is my wife here in Bakersfield, so she was following me out to Stockton, and it didn't work out there, and was lucky enough to get back here in Bakersfield. It's her hometown, it's now mine, which I've always enjoyed the place, so it was great to come back, I guess.
You had a great year that year too, over 30 goals that season, I think, when you came back. What do you remember about that team? Because you guys ended up winning the playoff series. You had one of the more successful teams in Condors history at that time. And a lot of guys that are on that team have stuck around. What do you kind of remember about that team and how close they were back then?
No, it was great. I'd say that, the first year we had some great leaders. Paul Rosebush, St. Jacques was there. The second year I had come, but it was that year was a great introduction of, I guess how a team's supposed to be as far as camaraderie, dressing room, leaders leading by example. But we never didn't do anything. We were always together. It always seemed, you know what I mean? Whether it was at the rink or away from the rink, we always found a way to get together, and that's definitely something I miss. So.
You've had a long career as well too after that, and you have maybe one of the more famous hat trick goals in team history. A lot of hat tricks, of course, in Condor's history. But your memory of coming out of the penalty box and scoring an OT game winner like that.
I remember that one for sure. I mean, a lot of people talk to me about it more than I remember it, I guess. But it was it was a fortunate situation, I guess, coming out of the penalty box in OT when I think it was a tie game going, obviously, and still working for my spot on that team. Everything kind of went my way. Puck was right there when I came out of the box. I think I dove and chipped it by the guy, and then, little 5-hole shot, I think. But it wasn't a hard one, but it was a good one, I guess.
And those alumni too, you still get to see them around town. Guys like Andrew Iannaro, and you mentioned Rosebush and Mike Hofstrand, and guys that we've talked to throughout the year. Yep. How cool is that to have a town like Bakersfield? Because it is rare to have a town where you have a lot of guys that have played professionally here, have stayed in the community. For a lot of guys have worked with the kids here in this community to help grow the game. But for you guys to be able to still get together and still talk about not only the old times, but also get to live what's going on right now here in Bakersfield.
I don't know. I think it speaks volumes, I guess, for the town of Bakersfield. It's a big town, but it's also a small town. I think it speaks volumes. It's multiple guys that are Canadian guys. They met their wives. Their kids are now all in minor hockey, but it's wanting to stay here and build something more with minor hockey, I guess.
When you were playing, and again, you mentioned you went on and a bunch of CHL teams as well too. You were over in Europe for a bit as well. Did you ever think the AHL would become what it's become here in Bakersfield now, and seeing guys on Friday nights here in Bakersfield and Saturday night, down in LA playing for the Oilers against the Kings or what have you. Did you ever think that it would become what it became?
In a sense, no, I guess. I thought it was always going to be a great, ECHL team, but I mean, across the country, the game's grown, I think. So, it was only a matter of time, I think, before, teams, direct farm teams to the NHL made their way out here. There's lots of California kids that are now, excelling in the NHL. So I guess it only makes sense. And, Bakersfield's a great place. So.
We talked about the connection, you have with other alumni, but, yourself and Mike Hofstrand and Andrew Iannaro, we've kind of talked to them about the connection to the current team as well too, and the appreciation that, a lot of the older guys or the veteran players like Brad Malone, Luke Esposito, Adam Cracknell going back a couple of years, but have for this organization. How cool is that to kind of bridge the gap between guys that have, kind of carried the torch throughout the years, now kind of passing it off to the AHL guys, kind of the next generation, here in Bakersfield?
I mean, I think that's great. I think one of the biggest things I miss is being in the dressing room around the guys on a road trip, whatever, and the fact that, Bakersfield still keeps us involved as alumni. We have the alumni games. We've done those. That's great. You get to see the guys, what they're up to, and it just kind of gets you back into it. And it's I think great.
No, we appreciate it. And certainly, appreciate your time here in Bakersfield and all you've meant for this organization. Great catching up with you.
Thank you.
It's been Brett Lutes, and for more with Brett and the rest of the Condors alumni as we celebrate 25 years of Mission Bank memories, you can head to our YouTube page, condors.tv. I'm Ryan Holt. We'll catch you next time.